I'm Drew,
I'm Tony.
and this is back. I should say, welcome back to Back for Our Future, the 90s movies and music. Hey, you know what? Really, we've just become a pop culture podcast. However, our primary focus is reliving our childhood, starting all the way back in 1992. We are currently in 1995. It's been a crazy time. We took a little hiatus because Tony had a movie. I've had a chaotic summer, so it has been a nice little reprieve for us. Hopefully, you guys have caught up on back episodes. But Tony, welcome back. How was your movie? How'd it go?
Everything was good. We had some family stuff and things like that. So I can't go into all the details, but I'm back. Made it back. I'm
He's
here.
he's back,
Uh,
baby.
so a lot of stuff happening. I can't believe how much has happened since we since we last cut the episode.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't expect
If you've
all that to happen.
yeah, I mean, if you follow along this show, there have been obviously massive cultural events. There have been, I mean, a major sporting event, and I know we're going to talk about it. If you guys, anybody that listens to this show that has paid any attention to our dear friend Tony, I was going to give your full name and then I backed off. Our dear friend Tony, there's an event that's occurred. We also have the World Cup, which is massive,
Yep.
and we got some movies to talk about. So there's a ton going on. I'm going to let you determine where we start because I have a feeling I know where you're going to lead in with this, and you should, rightfully so.
I mean, we've already talked about it so much. I mean, listen. I've been a New York Knicks fan since literally this is what happened. I was a fan of Patrick Ewing when he was at Georgetown back in the 80s. When they drafted Patrick Ewing, I became a New York Knicks fan. So I became a Knicks fan in 1985. Okay, and then like the day they drafted Patrick Ewing, I was like, because I lived in St. Louis at the time, and St. Louis didn't have NBA basketball. So if you wanted to have an NBA team, you had to look outside of St. Louis. You couldn't have a home team really. Some people were Bulls fans and stuff, but I decided to become a New York Knicks fan after they drafted Patrick Ewing, and then I moved the next year. I moved to New Jersey. So then after that, I became even a bigger Knicks fan, and then that's how I became. That's how my Knicks fandom began, and they weren't very good for a long time in that stretch of in that after getting Patrick Ewing even, and they had to build that team, and finally they got good in the '90s, in the late '80s and '90s, and culminating in 1999 by getting to the finals in '94, '99, and they lost both, but they got to the finals, and that whole stretch of that decade was great, and then they went through a really down like 25 years where they had maybe four good seasons out of about 25 years.
Let's be honest about it. The worst part about that slump was they became the butt of a lot of jokes, dude.
It's almost embarrassing to admit you're a fan, but that's how you, right? I mean, everyone would make fun of me all the time. I get made fun of all the time. So now, fast forward, and here we are in 2026, and the Knicks go on this massive run and win the championship. And the funny thing about it is, like, you're no longer when that happens, and this has happened to me with several teams now, because I was a long suffering Nebraska fan for a long time, and they were good, but they were always the team that couldn't win the big games, and all of a sudden they got hot in the night. And long suffering Notre Dame fan who's now they're good. It's like and those a really long suffering Chiefs fan who struggled for a long time, a long suffering Saints fan, as you know, and they won a championship. So I've been through this a lot, and I know how this looks. And so when your team finally wins, one thing about that is you don't want anybody who wasn't on the bandwagon then getting on now. Like you're really It's like you're a security guard. You're trying to tell people, no, you're not allowed to be a fan of this team now. Like if you didn't suffer back then, you don't get to be a fan now. And that's one of the things that irritates me because you see all these celebrities now, right? And they've decided to join this bandwagon. You got the Taylor Swifts that are popping into Madison Square Garden, and her fans are like, "Well, she's been in New York for like the last 10 years." Yeah, but she won't go to a game in the middle of the season when they're playing, the Pelicans. Pelicans come into town. She ain't going to that game, right? And she's got the Hames sisters in tow with her going to the games. The Hames sisters are from California. They ain't Knicks fans. Okay? Let's get that straight right now. I know who the Knicks fans are. I know who they all are. I've been in the fan base for since 1985 for over 40 years. I know who you are. I know Spike Lee's a fan. I know John Turturro's a fan. I know Michael Rappaport is a fan. I know Woody Allen's a fan. I know Ben Stiller's a fan. I know those guys are fans. Because they've been there for a long time. They've been suffering inside Madison Square Garden with all of us for a long time. So I mean, those guys are fans. Like we get it. I know who they all are. You can't hide from me. Like Tate McRae, you're not a fan. You're 22
No.
years old and you're from Canada. You're not a Knicks fan. Okay, just because you put on a shirt or a jersey and you look cute, it don't make you a fan. You're not a fan of the team. It's okay. You didn't get on the bandwagon back when you should have. You're on it now when it's trendy to be on it, because that's what celebrities do. They jump on trends. They love to jump on trends and use it for clout, and that's fine. They can do whatever they want to, but we recognize you. We know you're not a fan. You're not hiding from us. You're not anything. You're just there. You're just there, and you've lost all your integrity, and that's what it all amounts to. But let's talk about the
I
positive. Being a Knicks
Yeah.
fan and finally winning this championship, it really does wash all the stink off of you. You know, it's great, man. It's just so wonderful. I wish the people in New York didn't have to get so ghetto as we were winning
Right.
it. They were
Right.
just there. They're just terrible. Videos are just awful, and the context to it is even worse, and it's not a lot of fun to watch, but it's like a train wreck. You can't really look away from it, but it's all part of this. It's all part of the story. By the way, those aren't Knicks fans either. The people that are
Right.
doing that, they're not Knicks.
Right.
They don't represent us. We weren't doing that crap for 40 years. It's like, so the 53-year drought is dead, and thank God, because I really got tired of it after a while, and it's nice to get to see a championship in my lifetime because I was kind of starting to think it wasn't going to happen. You know?
I it's so funny because I'm not on any social media at all anymore. Like it's just not something I do anymore. But every once in a while when I'm taking a crap, I might check it, right? So if you see me post anything, understand I'm probably going number two skis. I just don't spend a lot of time on it. And those few moments, so it's whatever's in my feed for however long I'm in the bathroom, which isn't too terribly long. And and my God, my feed was flooded, both Instagram and Facebook, with all of these fair weather Knicks fans. And I'm like, I'm excited for Knicks fans. I'm excited that they won. I think it's awesome. But even me, it's a little bit annoying to be like, where were you? Because I have a friend, and I'm thinking of you, of course. I have a friend that has been there and when you know somebody that's that diehard into something, that's committed, you're committed to being a Knicks fan.
Yeah, right.
This isn't a trend for you. You're not a hashtag, Tony. You're not a hashtag. Hashtag not a hashtag. Like, it's just, it was wild to observe it. It's the same thing we see a lot when it comes to, and I think it's something that permeated a little bit, to keep it on topic, a little bit of the 90s. It's something that we saw permeate, not as much with sports. I'm sure it's been around, but we saw this a lot in the 90s when a band, let's take a band you and I loved, some band that we were really into, and then they come out with a single that just blows them out of the water. I mean, the best one I can think of off the top of my head, they're late 90s into 2000s, is somebody like Incubus or Limp Bizkit. These are two bands that you and I saw when they were nobodies. Bloodhound Gang, nobodies. And we were fans in the very beginning. And then all of a sudden they get that one hit. And now all these fans are like, I've known them forever. And it was like a thing where
Sugar Ray's another one.
Sugar Ray's probably the best of them all, because they not only, and look, they're nice guys, but like they embraced the fans that followed them and said, hey, we're going to change our entire album in perspective. Mark McGrath's like, hey, it's time for me to have a bunch of facial surgery. Here we go. Like they went to, I mean, good dude, but come on, bro.
Yeah, no, he's a great dude. But yeah, I mean, I get it. And that's exactly what it is. You know, you're kind of like, where were you people? Like, you know, at least with a band like that, sometimes people just don't get to the album, right? Like that's okay sometimes, you know, because you know, if they're not a band that's getting a lot of radio airplay, you know, somebody's got to go find this album. And back in the day, you know, we didn't have, you know, the internet blowing up all over the place. You know, you can find this stuff on YouTube and all that stuff. Now you can. It's a lot easier. But back in the day, you have to go to a record shop and find that album, you know, find that band, and if they weren't on the radio. So, I mean, a little bit, you know, kind of understand that a little bit, but yeah, it's still kind of the same feel. And yeah, I mean, it's just, I hate the fair weather fans, man. They came out, the same thing happened with the Chiefs. Like, the Chiefs got popular, and all of a sudden, everyone wanted to be a Chiefs fan. Patrick Mahomes is the greatest. You know, Travis Kelce, you know, it's like everyone loves them all of a sudden. I'm like, you guys, come on, man. I was suffering with this team forever. They used to call them chefs. The chefs. They used to call us the chefs. I get that all the damn time. I would go into card shops when I was a kid, and right up the street, Omni Collectibles and places like that. And I'd go into card shops when I was a kid, and I'd buy Chiefs cards, and I'd have the owners of these places. The owners of these stores, they own the stores that I'm shopping in, would come up to me and be like, hey, you know, too bad your team sucks, but, you know, you can buy these cards. And I'm like, yeah, great, man. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for, you know, stepping all over my face. I appreciate it. You know, here's some money. But yeah, I mean, it's that kind of thing. And the Saints were the same thing. I mean, we all lived in the South, you know. I mean, you were, you know, and Richard, everybody was a Saints fan. My buddy Nathan Parker is a Saints fan, and like, you know, they're actual Saints fans. You know, when they were Saints fans back in the '80s and, you know, in the '90s, and when teams weren't, they were going to the playoffs here and there, but not necessarily doing anything. And you know, I had Saints season tickets back in the late '80s and early '90s and stuff. You know, I mean, that's way before they got Drew Brees and all these guys and ended up winning a championship and Sean Payton and everybody. And it's like, okay. And all of a sudden, that's when, you know, I remember that year when they won that Super Bowl. Same thing.
Yep.
All of a sudden, everybody's a Saints fan. Everybody all of a sudden was a Saints fan. I was like, oh, you're so full of crap.
That is, by the way, the greatest year in sports history, because that same year, Alabama won the national title. So we can just admit that for the South, that was the greatest year in sports history.
I wasn't fond of half of that, but yeah, it was.
It's one of the best, dude. And look, my favorite part was I was up in Missouri. I had just gotten fired.
That's right.
Yeah, so I had a really bad finish to my year. I watched Alabama. Like, I got fired in early December, and then is that right? Yeah. So I got fired.
You got fired
the Super Bowl. Yeah. That was in that window, right? Because then we watched.
09 is the Saints. 09
but I got
Super Bowl.
Yeah. You're right.
But it's the start of 10. I think you got.
Yeah, the start of 10. Yeah, that's what it was. So that, like, the best year, and then I got fired that same year. But it was still, I didn't care. It was the greatest year forever for me. Maybe that's why I got fired, because those guys didn't like Alabama and they hated the Saints. So
I know exactly the day you got fired, because you came to St. Louis and we saw Tron.
Tron Legacy sure did. In IMAX, I think. I think it's the first IMAX I ever saw.
What's that?
Wasn't it IMAX? Didn't we see that in IMAX?
IMAX over at Romney's. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. It's funny because it's the same thing of like I like the we've told the story before, but the very first episode, if you guys want to hear it, you need to go listen to that because it has to do with Saints. It
Yeah.
also has to do with a movie being like something we fall back on. But I had gotten in trouble. You got to listen to the first episode to understand why I got in trouble. And we went to go see Three Men and a Little Lady. That's what I went. I was grounded, but my parents were like, "Well, we got to go do something," and so that's what we did that night. So I got grounded, and then that night we saw Three Men and a Little Lady.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I like that movie.
Yeah, I
So,
mean,
it's
yeah.
not what you wanted to do. You're getting
No,
better.
I wanted to go be with my buddy at the Saints game.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
know. It was a good time. I had a good time without you. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, not only do we have that going, have you seen the? This is, and it's a segue over. So you've got this kind of annoying crap happening with the Fairweather Knicks fans, and that is slightly embarrassing of Americans. The juxtaposition to this is the Europeans that have come to our country who have been terrified of us, and it's all I watch is Japanese people eating ribs. That's my new favorite hobby. I just want to watch Japanese people eating American ribs. And all these different individuals, whether Scots, it doesn't matter where they are in the country, all these groups that came over and they've had this perception of the United States and this world, and then they come over for World Cup, and these people are loving everything that they get to do. They're like, this place is the greatest place on earth.
I'm gonna turn political for just a second. We don't ever do this. Okay?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just for a second. I'm not gonna give anything up, but I'm just gonna say it's funny because like all of a sudden the narratives have changed
Yeah.
drastically
Yep.
because having the World Cup here in the States, and now it's like, oh, I guess everybody's forgotten that everybody was talking about how foreign people weren't allowed in the country, and now all of a sudden we got millions of them. it's just kind of funny to me because how the narratives all of a sudden nobody's talking about that anymore.
Right.
Nobody's talking or any of that. No,
Right.
nobody any of that anymore because everybody's having a great time. You know, everybody's freely coming here on their own and 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 are here and having a great time together, and nobody can use context to prove differently. You know what I'm saying? Because nothing bad and everyone's having a great time. And I've been to World Cup games. I've been to some of these World Cup games, and I'm going to another one tomorrow as well. So it's like yeah. I mean, listen. I mean, everybody's having a blast, man. We're all having a good time together, and you're seeing it, and it's I love it. It's I mean, this is what happens when you're allowed to just be. You know what I'm saying? Without all the narratives and all the people bickering at each other constantly and fighting for no reason whatsoever because nothing's happening. You're just making up your own crap because you see some stupid little thing that you can kind of pick at. I hate that, but I mean, I love the fact that everyone's having a great time. I've been waiting for the World Cup to get here for a very long time. So I'm very happy for it. I originally it's been a lifelong dream to attend any of these games. And I know it was for Richard as well. So what funny thing is, 1994 was the last time the World Cup was on American soil, which is funny because it coincides with the Knicks making the finals as well, 1994, and so this really has brought me back mentally. I feel like I'm in 1994 a little bit, which is kind of fun,
Yeah.
and so like all these things were happening in 1994 and I remember it very well. And so I remember in 1994 thinking, man, if the World Cup ever got back, I'd love to go. And I remember in 2010 um, thinking I want to go to the World Cup, and I wanted to go to Brazil in 2014, and I had saved up for like 4 years to do that. And what happened was all of a sudden a bunch of movies came in 2014, kind of wiped the trip.
Right.
And I think the films and everything, they were all bigger movies, so I had no choice but to take them. And so I did that. One of them was your movie too. I did that one as well. And so So yeah, we did all that stuff, and I didn't end up doing the Brazil trip. And then in 18, they go to Russia, and I was had thought about it, but I was like, I don't want to really go to Russia. And then it was right around that time that they announced that the 2026 would be here in the States, and I was like, man, 8 years isn't promised to anybody, of course. But I took the chance, and it didn't go to Qatar
Dude.
22, so I was like, I saved a lot of money to get to go to a few of these games, and just for this, I had a full different fund just for World Cup, just because I wanted to
No,
go
I
to the
get
World
it. I think, look, it's one of those scenarios. If my kids were a little bit older, I had told Sarah, I was like, if our kids were a little bit older, we would have gone to one or two of these games, just because like this is like a once in a lifetime, scenario on home soil. The thing that's blown me away, and the thing that I love the most about it, granted, it's our semi quincentennial or whatever it is. I think that's awesome, and I'm glad that it's this year. It's cool for our country because we're young in terms of countries. We're children, but like it's also been having the World Cup here, having people attend, having people post these videos of having a great time, talking about how much they love America. The thing that I love the most is here we are going into July. Here we are going into really our most patriotic time of year, and Americans feel pretty good about America for once, at least on
Cup. Right.
social media, right?
Yeah.
And that's huge because for once, maybe we can just remember that it's okay to say yay for your country. And if your country's not playing, then you can pick another team to root for, and that's still okay, right? It's still okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's I'm not happy the way Turkey played us recently.
Right.
I'm not I'm not happy, but I'm happy for them because that's like the first points they've scored in a very long time.
Yeah, of course, that game too. That was. U.S. was sitting a bunch of guys too, which is funny because I just did a commercial about a month or so, a couple months back, with Tim Ream, who is
Sweet.
the captain for the U.S. team, and he's such a sweet guy, and was really really kind with his time and everything. And came to St. Louis. He's from St. Louis, but he came back to St. Louis and hung out with all of us and did a couple of days of shooting and had a great time. Signed a lot of autographs for people who wanted them, took some photos and things like that. Well, I can actually post a couple of them now, so I'll do that on our social media stuff. But
Oh, that'd be cool.
yeah, but he's kind dude, and yeah, it was a lot of fun to get to be part of that. I mean, I've always got a chance to be part of the U.S. teams a little bit because I did that movie Game of Their Lives back in 2000, and we had a ton of the World Cup soccer guys on that movie. Like guys like Eric Winalda and Nelly Vargas and guys from the 1950 team too. Frank Borghi and Harry Keogh and Gino Periani and all guys like that. So they were those guys. Some of those guys have since passed away from the 1950s team, but yeah, man. So World Cup's always been a big, big, big thing for me, and I love it so much. I mean, I love soccer anyway, but I do.
It's a little bit different stage than MLS, right? It is a different to me
It's
anyway.
World Cup. World Cup. When you watch World Cup, it feels more like when you're watching overseas soccer. Like you're watching like Premier, something like that, and it's a little more that kind of feel to it with the announcers and things like that. It has that feel to it to me. Or overseas leagues like Serie A and stuff like that. I watch a lot of that kind of stuff. But so when you get all these nations on each other like this, it's so much fun. And I'm obviously a U.S. fan, of course, and I want them to always do well. But I cheer for other teams too. Like I cheer for Iran, because half my family's from Iran, and I've always cheered for Iran when they get to the World Cup. And I've always been a big Italy fan. Of course, they're not in this one because their nation in soccer has completely fallen off the map. I'm not exactly sure what's happened over the last three World Cups, but if they have not made it the last few
Oh yeah,
World Cups,
yeah.
so it's kind of disheartening that you got 48 nations and Italy's not here. But that is what it is. But it's a lot of fun, man. I mean, these games, and it's just different. Like going to these games and stuff, it's just different. I was telling somebody else, I said, I've been to all the big stuff. Like I've been to the Super Bowls, I've been to the World Series, I've been to the Final Four, the championship games, and the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs and all this stuff. I've been to all this stuff, and you know, all those events are amazing, and they're lots of fun. I had a blast at everything I've ever gone to, and you can cut the tension with a knife every time you're in one of these events. But World Cup's just different, because for one thing, a lot of times you're outnumbered by the people who don't speak English.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's weird being in an American venue and being outnumbered by people that are from a different nation. It's kind of crazy. And so it's not like anything you've ever been to. And that's what's kind of cool about it. Is that the chance and the things that are happening and all the noise that's going on. It's different than if you're just at the Super Bowl because you know how that's going to be. You know what I'm saying? Like your fandom's already you've experienced it and you know what that's like by watching just a ton of football games or something like that. But this is just very different and just the sound is different.
Yeah.
If that
Oh,
makes sense.
yeah.
It's just everything. It's not better or worse. It's just different.
Yeah, look, one of the things I love, obviously, my career path now is more in advertising, and I took my kids one day to McDonald's, and obviously McDonald's is a huge sponsor of U.S. team, and going to McDonald's even, and they have like this World Cup meal. I didn't get it because that's not my kind of food, but I got a cup, and they gave me a cup because I was like, can I just pay for the cup? I just want the cup, even though I don't really care. I just want it's cool to me, and so I'm drinking my soda out of the cup. Kids are eating whatever. But even just that idea of like, even this is one of those times like, all right, so there's Super Bowl crossover advertising, there's movie crossover advertising, and that's neat. There's some cool stuff, right? But I don't know what it is about the World Cup to me, it being in the US, that stuff just feels like it should be. Like it makes me happy to see corporate sponsors getting behind it and saying, you know what? We're going to get behind these American companies are going to get behind America's team. We don't even hardly see that enough for the Olympics. I feel like this is a better expose into that space than the Olympics. We don't do as much of this stuff for the Olympic side of things. So for me, it to your point, I can only imagine it live, but even in my own home and in my own environment, it's just been fun. It's one of the best, like, to me, crossover experiences. It's perfect because it's during summertime. It's perfect because it's our semi-quincentennial. It's perfect because of all these other aspects, and it just lines up really well. And it's gonna be one of those moments that we remember forever. Like it's one of those things.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm still young enough to kind of enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Because
Absolutely.
worked out that we're still young enough to actually enjoy it. So it's kind of cool. And I'm yeah very grateful about that too. But you're right, it's all kind of culminated into this great fun time, and I love that, and I love the fact that Knicks added to that too and won
Yeah.
this. I don't know if I mean it's kind of sweet, man. It's just like all of it. It's just I mean I maybe the way it worked out is the way it was supposed to work out, and I love that. I love the fact that this has all come back from like 1994. Like I love how in the World Cup and being on American soil and the Knicks coming back around and finally getting the championship and closing that chapter happened during the same time the World Cup was on American soil. Like I don't know if I could have planned that better, so I'll just thank God that he was able to do it instead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thing like
I
it
tell
was
you
it,
what, go ahead.
no, I said it happened the way it was supposed to happen, which is great.
Well, I mean, it's really the culmination of two great things coming together. That also happened on April 7th, 1995, when you get Will Smith and Martin Lawrence together in one of the greatest films ever made, in my opinion. One of my all-time favorites. I love this franchise. I don't care if you are mad at them for the recent one, this one changed. It is exactly the kind of movies that when we were this age, these were the kind of things you and I love buddy cop films. And I don't think there's very many examples that stand the test of time as much as the movie Bad Boys. Again, April 7th, 1995, Bad Boys hits the theaters.
Yeah. So these guys were really hot then, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
Will Smith and like Will Smith, I pretty much would, I would, especially back in this time frame, I would watch him in anything. I watched him do it. He was great. What I always loved about Will was he's funny. You know, uh, he's got the dashing looks and stuff like that too. So he can do that, right? And so he played this part to a T, right? He was amazing. And you fit in Crazy Martin Lawrence, and you got yourself a pretty good movie. I mean, Martin's, and you just got all these guys, right? Like they just know how to make this bigger and over the top. Jerry Bruckheimer and Michael Bay. I mean, it's like, dude, you mix all this together. It's a pretty tasty stew, my friend. No doubt.
And one of my things I love is this is, like Michael Bay's a little bit of a meme now in his style. Like we can kind of meme Michael Bay, but this is pre Michael Bay's meme. This is him finding that meme. This is him building that path. In Joey Pants in this?
They're all in this, man. Joe Pantoliano and Teresa Randall and Tia Leone looks amazing. She's great in this. I mean, what's funny about this movie is they shot this for like $20 million.
Crazy.
You never even come close to shooting this for 20
No
million.
way.
You
No way.
making over 20 million. These guys. I mean, it's just so hilarious. Like I loved how they did this movie. I mean, $20 million. If you shot one of these, you'd make so much money on that.
Oh yeah.
20
And look,
million.
it's a classic though. Here's the thing. It's a $20 million movie that turns out to become a classic. It's an April release. We are not in. So people, you've brought this up before and we talked about it in our summer movie preview. Summer's kind of slowly over time inched its way into like late spring, if we're being honest. This was not one of those. This is a true April release. April 7 is a spring release. This is we don't know where it's going to totally do, but we're going to try it. And it becomes a cinema classic.
I just love like this whole group of people that's on this. It's like Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson. They were classic guys. Hey, like this is before like all these guys. Really got egos, and
Yep.
it's like
Yeah.
it's hard to get this group back together. But it's pretty awesome. I mean, Martin and Will and all these guys, it's like that was a lot of fun. I remember watching this in because who really wanted to go to this was Big A, Andrew.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, go really bad to this. So we went and saw it at Carmike 10. Um, yeah, just unbelievable. I mean, I love this movie. Yeah, it's just great. I mean, you and I love buddy cop movies and buddy movies like this, and I just love them when they got action and they got really great comedy and
Yep.
really great one-liners and just
Yep.
amazing one. And these two are so great at playing. I just, yeah. I mean, I think even though like this movie made a lot of money, and so the second one, the other ones have made money, and like they've all made a lot of money, but I still feel like they're a little bit underrated. I still feel like they're a little bit underrated. Like when people talk about the best action movies, they don't usually mention Bad Boys. You know what I mean? Like we get a lot of Die Hard and Christmas movie and all that. Like we hear that all year. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I mean,
Yep.
this is up there.
So I called you or I texted you the other day when I was watching Cliffhanger, which by the way, if you guys have not, I told this to Tony and I wanted to share this. We've talked about it in depth. There's a whole almost episode about the movie Cliffhanger and why we love it so much. But I just rewatched it because, again, our non-sponsored sponsor moment of Pluto TV just giving me what I want, which is awesome. I love Pluto for the fact that I can just find my own movies. It's great. And I'm not talking about on demand. I take what they give me and I say, you know what? I haven't watched Cliffhanger in a minute. I might not watch that normally. I love that movie, but I'll find something. Anyway, the opening of Cliffhanger is one of the great. To my argument to Tony, the movie's amazing, but the opening of Cliffhanger is cinema genius. I think it's one of the most horrific openings of any movie. It's equally as hard to watch now as it was in that theater. My palm sweated then, my palm sweat now, and I know what's going to happen. The rest of the movie's great. Bad Boys. So I started making a list. Is what I did. I was like, okay, what are the action movies that are overlooked? Well, Cliffhanger's been overlooked, and they're remaking it. Whatever. That's at the end of the summer. We'll see what that is. But I put Bad Boys in there, and I'm not ranking them in order, but Bad Boys entered that list because when I think about movies that brought me sheer joy, brought me excitement, left me on the edge of my seat, and gave something to me where I walked out of it, I'm not talking about like an art film where it changed my perspective on life. I'm talking about something where I was like, that was worth every penny plus some. I will never forget this. Bad Boys is in that list. And it's one of those things where, just like Cliffhanger's got an iconic vibe to it because it was an original idea, and now we've seen lots of rips-offs. Your triggering word loves to rip off the movie Cliffhanger with lots of movies with Charlize Theron that do the same thing. But Bad Boys has yet to ever be ripped off. And I think part of it is because the magic you get in Bad Boys 1, and really the whole series, but Bad Boys 1, the magic you get with that cast, that direction, those producers, the time of lives that we're in, the energy of the world. It's set in Miami. You're taking all of these risks and you're breaking away from norms and you're setting this thing up. It is a completely original movie that, to your point, is one of the most overlooked action movies in history, and it should be on everyone's Rushmore list, in my opinion. In
Yeah,
my
no,
opinion.
I wouldn't say ripped off. I would say there's been some people that have tried to use the formula a little bit. Like I feel like Ride Along gets there a little bit in a certain way. They're not both cops and stuff like that, but I mean certainly by Ride Along 2 is you feel, and but I mean that's a good movie in its own right. Maybe like uh, Central Intelligence, something like that. I don't know. I feel like that. I feel like the formula is there a little bit, but I mean at the same time, it's just been, yeah. I mean it's and the fact that they've come back with newer ones as well, and I've enjoyed the newer Bad Boys
I do
movies as
too.
well.
I loved them.
They're all great. So yeah, I mean, it's a great
What's
franchise.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's something that I think has probably not been revisited by a lot of people because they just saw the Bad Boys Ride or Die or whatever it is, but Never Die, whatever it is. But like, go back and watch the original one. It's super good, and you're probably going to want to watch two. They introduce Henry Rollins. It makes it great. But this movie opens. And again, it could be billed as an action comedy. It could be billed as someone could convince their wife or spouse or partner to go with them to see a comedy with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. I would understand that. And there's some action in it and everybody's happy. But it opens up against one of the most serious movies ever made, which is the movie Rob Roy.
Man, do I have a good story for this one?
Oh boy. Oh boy, because it's heavy, dude. That's a heavy one. It's not
So I
Schindler's List heavy, but it's heavy.
No, it's great though. So I saw this movie, and it's for anyone who hasn't seen Rob Roy. It's Liam Neeson, Jessica Lange, John Hurt, Tim Roth, Eric Stoltz, Brian Cox. Amazing cast.
Stupid.
Amazing. I wanted to see it as soon as it came out, and um, yeah. So so somebody there was a girl I was dating, and she wanted to see this movie too. And we did go see this film, but it wasn't somebody I did long. It was like this was like a first date, second date, right? And I for anyone who's seen the movie, they know what's happening in the film. You already know what's happened. But for if you haven't seen this movie, haven't seen it in a long time, there is a very brutal rape scene that happens in this movie. And that's the kind of scene that's very uncomfortable to sit on a date with somebody you barely know and
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah.
That's the kind of scene that I love being at movie theaters for, because like everybody in the theater is uncomfortable watching that, and um and we're all there together enjoying it.
Yep.
Like having to
Yep.
go through that. But that does happen in this movie. But man, this is a really good movie. It's gritty. It's raw in a lot of spots. I mean, they didn't just overproduce this. It's like, and it's funny because they shot this for more than they shot Bad Boys. This is
Right.
like a $20 million movie. It made
Right.
money, 60 million at the box office. But I mean, but yeah, it was. This is a really good movie and very, very underrated, because I don't hear anybody talking about it these days.
Well, I mean, the cast alone is worth the price of admission. Again, you've got to be in the mindset to step into the movie, because a lot of times, like, when we see, something as horrific as rape in cinema, there's two things that are happening. And this is bullshit film school theory, but I just want people to understand from a writer's standpoint. One, it is an essential part of the story that can't be avoided, and it needs to make you uncomfortable so that you can continue on the journey to understand what's going to happen down the road. That's usually done in dramatic films and so forth. And then you have the other side of it where it's used, which I can't stand, and I've never done it and I refuse to do it, and I just find it disgusting, is when it's used as a motif to create horror and tension, but not in a way that is going to, arguably it is propelling the story, but it's not in a way that is going to, it's there for trite's sake. It's just there to be spiteful. It's like the current trend of, I mean, John Wick did it best, but a lot of places are doing now, of the current trend of like, the dog is in trouble, right? That's a new trend right now. The dog is in trouble, because we all have this weird cinematic affection for animals on screen more so than human lives. So we can watch Masters of the Universe and you can just see thousands of people slaughtered, right?
Yeah.
I watched that recently, so it's in my brain. But you can see all these people getting punched and kicked, and it's cool action. But my God, we don't want anything to happen to Battle Cat,
Right.
a CG cat. Can't have anything bad to Battle Cat, the CG cat. I mean, good God,
That is a big character.
it's a big character. Yeah,
Follow that.
it goes back to Lethal Weapon. Save the cat. It's Lethal Weapon 3. They're grab the cat. They're in. The bomb's about to go off underneath the building. Riggs and Murtaugh, they're having the whole discussion, and he sets the bomb wrong, and he just says, grab the cat. Or save the cat, whatever it is. And so anyway, so in this case, like, I appreciate the fact that scene is hard to watch, but it is an essential part of the narrative, and it's not there just as a gag or a gimmick to create horror and tension. It's literally there to make you uncomfortable, to help progress the narrative in the right direction, and not just something that's just kind of squeezed in there. But again, great movie. I agree with you. Highly underrated, gritty, violent, raw, good filmmaking. Who do you happen to have the note on who directed that? I just don't have that. I don't remember that off the top of my head.
Yeah, Michael Caton Jones directed it, and of course he's done his. He was known for like Doc Hollywood. He did like Doc Hollywood and the Jackal, Bruce Willis
Oh,
movie.
I love the Jackal, dude.
Yeah, and he's done some stuff like that. And Memphis Belle, remember Memphis Belle? That came out.
Oh, gut wrencher! If you didn't cry in that movie, you're not a human.
But in some of his later stuff was like City by the Sea, and he did Basic Instinct 2, stuff. I mean, yeah, he's been around. He's been around the block. But yeah, so I mean, you kind of very seasoned director. Um, had a few hits. It was funny because this is like he's coming off of like Doc Hollywood when he does this movie. Very
Yeah,
different.
yeah,
But that's
yeah.
a good director. So that's great.
Well, I mean, even we went through that. I mean, we come off of something like, for you and I, we're coming off of we're talking about what we want to do next, and we come off of Convergence, which was a personal film for me and a very heavy film and bleak. And then the next thing we do is a movie about Sasquatch. That's a comedy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I get it. I get the need to, like, I got to be
But
serious.
you remember back when we did that, you had trouble. Your brain had trouble switching to that comedy.
It was hard. It was hard to say. Oh, comedy's still the hardest genre.
you really did struggle. I mean, because like you trouble on this on the Sasquatch movie because you're coming off of Convergence, which really different feel and a different headspace. And so I mean, we shot those pretty close together. So it ended up being, I mean, well, within several months, but I mean, still, that's pretty.
Your
Yeah,
brain's still in it though. You're right. I mean, it was struggle bus because even some of the.
you're coming off of
Okay.
post
Yeah.
production for at the
Right.
same time,
Right.
so your headspace is still with Convergence, and now you got to direct this comedy. It's weird.
It
You
was.
struggle. And you're supposed to, you know what I mean? Like that's it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, coming out on the 12th, so we're jumping ahead here till April 12th. We get two really different comedies.
It's funny.
One of them will be remembered forever. One of them may not be. We'll have to discuss through that a little bit. But let's talk about these two. So we have on the 12th, you have Jury Duty,
Right?
and you have Stewart Saves His Family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's get the breakdown on these two movies. I'm laughing because if no one knows these two movies, they're both quite funny, but they're both very interesting.
Well, I'm trying to figure out which one is remembered forever. You said
I
one
think
of them.
Jury Duty, dude. I think Jury Duty's remembered forever.
I think if people, because Pauly Shore still like has this fan base, right? Like still has a fan base of people that remember these movies, and I see this all the time because I have conversed with him quite a bit at different times, and he does have this fan base of people that just love these movies, and I did too, and I'm part of it, But it's funny because like I joke around all the time because when you see on X and all these other social media accounts and everything, like Pauly Shore back in the '90s, he would add over a million, over a million followers easily on
Yeah.
every account. Right? I mean, he was
Yeah.
huge. He was
Yeah.
huge in the '90s, and now he's like struggling to get like 100,000. You know what I mean? So it's like, and but I mean, it's funny to see how that kind of works sometimes. But so Jury Duty is the next date the girl and I would go.
Oh, well, that's a better balance.
Isn't that hilarious? And I well, there probably going to be a lot less issues here going to this. So we saw this one at Springdale.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's Pauly Shore, it's Tia Carrere, it's Brian Doyle Murray, who's Bill Murray's brother, uh, Stanley Tucci, Abe Vigoda, Charles Napier, Shelley Winters. It's like this really veteran cast around Pauly Shore.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good. I mean, I really did like Jury Duty. It's a funny movie. And I worked with Tia years later. This is 1995, and I would work with her in like 2004. But yeah, she's super sweet. She's amazing. But yeah, this is it's a good movie. And Tia's great, and she's obviously huge in the '90s.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
movies like Wayne's World and True Lies and stuff like that. So, and Paulie's Paulie, man, he's funny here, but this is where he kind of starts to lose his cachet at the box office a little bit here because this is like they branch out. This is like a $20 million Paulie Shore movie, right? To shoot this, Jury Duty is shot for the same budget as Bad Boys.
Mind blowing.
Isn't that crazy? And like right around 18 million. So it's like a little so you got to earn some money at other spots, but yeah, I mean it's a funny movie.
So, in juxtaposition to that, the reason why I think people will remember Jury Duty is because of Pauly Shore being attached, and it may not like last the test. I'm not saying either one of these movies are instant classics, but Jury Duty is a pretty solid film.
Yes,
If you juxtapose that against Stewart Saves His Family,
right. I had to throw this in here.
I love that you did because it's so random. I don't know if many people even know what this movie is, to be honest with you.
I don't, you know, they may not. I always loved and it's a Saturday Night Live skit. You know, the Stewart is a Saturday Night Live skit, and you know, they're played by Al Franken, who's by no means a big theatrical guy. You know, thing he got into politics later and everything else, but this is written by Al Franken, and oddly enough, it's directed by Harold Ramis, which is not
What?
odd. It's not odd because you know he does a lot of comedy, obviously, but you know it's a pretty big director.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
he's
know,
really big.
guy that brought us you know such hits as Groundhog Day, and now he's got you know Stewart Saves His Family. This was like a $17 million. Again, they shot close to the same budget as Bad Boys, which I'm just amazed by, and it made about $1 million. So this was not a movie that a lot of people probably even saw. Quite honestly,
Well, I mean, the skit was popular, right? Stewart is the I'm great, I'm wonderful, everybody likes me, right?
it live is you know Saturday Night Live, and it has its. And of course, we've had a load of Saturday Night Live movies, especially in this time frame. And once Wayne's World went boffo huge, and Wayne's World pretty good money, and you know all of a sudden, you know they all came out right. You know it's like you got Coneheads, and I love the Coneheads. You know I love the Coneheads,
I love it too.
and so it's like I love all these movies. I you know I liked them because I liked the skits. And Coneheads is a good movie, but you know Stewart's not as good as Coneheads. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
And but again, like it's funny because a very veteran group of actors in this movie, like Laura San Giacomo from Pretty Woman, and Vincent D'Onofrio, you know, much younger obviously here, but Harris Yulin and Kurt Fuller. You know, it's just hilarious, and I mean, it's like you got this veteran group of actors around Al Franken, so to try to you know help carry the movie. And yeah, it's not going to be your favorite Saturday Night Live film by any means. It doesn't hold up there with Wayne's World and Night at the Roxbury and stuff like that. Coneheads,
Right. Right.
and
But it's an odd bird movie, and if you're feeling, I would argue if you're feeling very nostalgic '90s, the first thing you have to do is watch some of the skits. You can find those on YouTube, and then go watch the movie. Like I'm not sure it's anywhere, but if you can find it, you know it. Maybe you're feeling nostalgic and you want to jump in on that. We're close to time, and before we shift away from it, I just want to ask you. I know you've seen the movies. We haven't talked about box office for the summer. We don't even have to go into all that craziness because there's been a lot of crazy that's happened. Some of it local to Mobile. The kid Curry Barker that directed Obsession went to high school at Baker, which is right around the corner from where we grew up. You and I. We had friends
yep.
that went to Baker. Shout out Jared Jones. It's a Baker grad, and also in the film industry. So there's been a lot of crazy stuff. Is there anything that, you know, over the summer, is there anything, I'm not asking you for your favorite because it's hard to do when there's this many movies, but is there anything that like, you're like, man, that turned out to be a really great, fun summer movie for you that
Yeah. I
you've
mean,
seen so far?
I've seen everything, like literally everything that has been released thus far. I even just recently saw Jackass, which I loved.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I miss it because it's like you know this could be the last Jackass movie. They've all say that, but you're starting to feel it now because like these guys are in their 50s and stuff. Like you're starting to think like they've kind of aged out of it, right, a little bit, you know, because they're getting up there and these pranks are tough on the body. So it's like, but yeah, that's amazing. Um, there's some other stuff I've seen that I really liked. I saw Disclosure Day. I
Oh, yeah.
love that. I loved that. I saw Obsession is amazing. It's very good. It's a very good movie. It's very very good. I'm amazed by. I've never seen box office numbers like Obsessions in the history of my life. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, the movie opened up, and for 3 straight weeks, the movie did not lose audience. It gained
Yeah, it's
audience
crazy. Right.
in the
It's
middle
Titanic style.
in summer.
Right.
it
Yep.
Titanic style, but not in a downtime of the box office. I mean, because you're in summer, and so this movie has gained following to the point where it's made where $1 million film has made well over 300 million worldwide. I mean, it's obscene, and the movie's really good. Don't get me wrong, but it's I kind of so this movie's kind of like the New York Knicks. Like all of a sudden, like I wanted to see this movie a year ago when they released the teaser trailer where they're shooting they shot the one scene and he's just out there with the whistle and everything else, and I wanted to see it then. Now all of a sudden everyone's jumped on the bandwagon because of everything they've seen on social media about it, and so now right, so it's kind of become trendy, and you're kind of like, oh, I hate when that happens. You know, you and I have always hated that, and so but it's still a really really good movie and should be watched if you're especially if you're into horror or into thrillers and that kind of thing. I felt like it played more like a thriller, but
Same.
but very good, a very good thriller. Uh,
What is your take on some of the controversy from it? Because there's been a bunch of I was about to say stupid. I didn't want to skew you, but what's your take on some of the controversy? With there's a lot of people coming out complaining that they were told this was a $750,000 movie, and yet it made 250,000. They should get a cut of that. What's your take on that?
I mean, first of all, you're not in control of the word of mouth of how much what your back end is what your back end is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whatever
Yeah.
you have on paper is what you have on paper. You know what I mean? Like if you have 2% of the box office, then you have 2% of the box office. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter what your budget is. I mean, that's great in theory that you're making you're making a $1 million movie with posts and everything else. You're making a $1 million movie, and just because you're making a $1 million movie doesn't mean it's only going to gross $2 million. It can you can be Blair Witch. You can be movies like that have done it in the past where they've made hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, it's always possible, and word of mouth is still the biggest thing we have about getting movies out there. Word of mouth is
Yep.
huge,
Yep.
and social media plays a big role in that. You're seeing it right here with this movie because it's huge on social media. So that's what's. I mean, now everybody who's of teenage 20 something range is at this theater every night watching this movie. It's obscene, and a lot of these people I feel like haven't even seen another horror movie ever in their life. They're like, "This is the greatest horror movie I've ever seen." I'm like, well, let's not go that far, but it's really good and it is
Yeah.
quite entertaining. But well directed, um, a lot of great scenes, well put together, and I'm amazed by it, to be real honest with you. Because I don't shoot a lot of movies for that kind of budget, especially nowadays. I don't do it, those types of budgets at all. But still, I was amazed by what they were able to accomplish with it and getting it out there. I thought their marketing plan with that teaser trailer was one of the best I've ever seen.
Yep.
They released
It was
one
really
tra-
good.
they released one trailer, and they didn't even have to cut a different trailer. It's a scene from the movie, but it plays so well as a teaser. They cut one damn trailer and released that, and that did it. And that got enough people to the box office on opening weekend where it made a very very respectable number, but it was not by any means massive. It's open, and then all of a sudden, I've just never seen numbers like that. I've been following box office for 40 years. I've never seen anything like it, where it's like the next week it's 6% higher. And then also, like, it's really weird because you're looking at the numbers. Usually Tuesdays you see a bump and increase over Monday because Tuesday is when most of the value days are at most of the theaters. So there's an increase because people go to the theater on Tuesday. But usually you see a fall on Wednesday. Well, this movie was picking up on Wednesday. So that meant more people were going to the movies on Wednesday than they were on Tuesday to see this movie. I've
Right.
never seen that. Go back and look. You'll never see numbers like that again. It's never going to happen. I mean, it's just this is a once in a lifetime event, right? With this film, it really is. It really is. I mean, you said that about Titanic. Look how long ago that's been, and how big that movie was. This is a smaller film, and yeah, it's amazing. But I want to talk about some others real quick because I really enjoyed Backrooms.
Yeah,
I
it
thought,
was interesting. I thought it was going to be the stronger of the two contenders, and it's done really well. Don't mistake anything I'm saying, but not Obsession well,
yeah, well, it's close. I mean, it's done over $300 million. It just was a bigger
right?
movie.
Yeah,
But I mean, biggest thing A24 has ever released by far. Masters of the Universe was incredible.
it was fun.
I
I had a good time with it.
I loved it. Loved it. I have all the little items. I have a Skeletor mug that I drink out of now, and a sword that you can drink out of, and yeah, it's like I got all this stuff. I loved Masters of the Universe. I wish they had marketed it a little differently because I thought they should call it He Man in the Masters of the Universe, not Masters of the Universe. I don't think anyone knows what that is. He Man. Mandalorian Grogu, amazing, absolutely amazing. Loved every second of it. I'll watch it 100 times.
Yeah, it was good. It was super fun. Uh, it was one of the most fun times I've had because I had both girls with me, and I went with another dad and his daughter, and like all of us ended up really enjoying it. I had a great time with that movie. I loved it.
I want to mention a couple of others. The Breadwinner with Nate Bargatze, amazingly funny. I laughed the entire film. You got to watch this movie, Drew.
I will. The trailer looked hilarious. It looked hilarious, and I don't care
And
about people's political affiliations, unlike the stupid internet.
no, no, no. Going to a UFC event is not a political event, by the way. Okay, I think that's the stupidest thing. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Uh,
Once in a lifetime event is not a political thing. It's
no,
so stupid.
no, it's so stupid.
That movie's hilarious. You can watch it with your children.
Great.
Very, very family friendly, and there's so much funny stuff going on. Because there's kids in the movie too. It's really funny. Um, Loved Devil Wears Prada 2. That was amazing. There's a movie I saw. My I had given up the mystery movie ticket for this movie because I had to go to California, but my mom and my brother saw a movie called Tuner, and then when I got back, I watched this movie Tuner with Dustin Hoffman. It's absolutely incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Everybody should watch this movie. It's very, very good. I mean, it's great from start to finish. I highly recommend it. Um, it's a must see. It's a must see. It's not the biggest budget movie in the world. It's doing pretty well at the box office, done like 11 million. But it's a trying to build an audience type scenario. It's an amazing movie. Everybody will dig it. That's kind of my list right now.
So, for people who've listened to the show, I may have not talked about it a lot. I think I've referenced it before. I love like really three types of movies. I love con man movies. I love them. I love a good con man movie. I'm an Ocean's 11 fan, but I just love con man movies. Clearly, I love military action movies. I love action, military based. I love it when you have that. And I love buddy movies. And there is nothing better that has come out this summer that satisfies that than In the Gray. That is my favorite summer movie so far. I watched that movie. Now, understand, this is a testosterone movie. This is made for men. I watched that movie, and first off, the young lady in it is just absolute eye candy. She is presented as sharp as a tack. So, yay women's empowerment, because she's like one of the most badass characters you ever see. But those two guys together, I did not know I needed Henry Cavill and Jake Gyllenhaal together as buddies. But I will tell you, it is the fantasy is if Drew Hall and Tony Nick-Najati became action heroes, one of us would be Jake, one of us would be Henry, and that's what we would do. It was literally like the ultimate male fantasy for me of like, I can be so badass with my buddy and both do this cool. I absolutely loved every second of that movie. I've watched it. I've watched it twice now because I just was like on a whim, like I'm going back to see it again. I just want to watch it again. I enjoyed it so much, and I rarely do that with movies, but I loved it that much.
Yeah, no, it's good. I saw I had to come back, and I at one point when I had downtime, I saw 6 movies in one day.
Holy smokes!
I had to catch up on some stuff, right? And so that was the number one movie I saw. That was the first one I saw on that day. Was In the Gray, and I saw it at. I started at like 10 a.m.,
Good
which is early.
gravy.
It's early for me, but
Yeah,
um, but yeah, I started at 10 a.m. and went all the way till the end of the into the night. But yeah, I mean, both those guys were good. I mean, I liked the movie a lot. Of course, I love Guy Ritchie, you know, and Isa Gonzalez is amazing. I've been watching her for a long time. I tell people about her all the time. She just doesn't get out there as much, you know, because she doesn't have a ton of credits all the time. She's done a bunch of stuff, but like, you know, she's gorgeous. She's a good actress, and of course, she's in Baby Driver, you know, and uh, Kid and I actually came an eyelash from working with her. Like, she was supposed to be on a movie um, that he ended up doing. I did another movie that was shooting in the same city, and but Morena Baccarin ended up on the film instead of
I love her too.
yeah,
She's one of my favorites.
but yeah, so but pretty cool. Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
it's
it's been so. I would say it's been a fun summer so far. By the time we're recording this episode in at the end of June, so we're getting into Supergirl territory, and we haven't even hit the July insanity market. Toy Story 5. There's all kinds of stuff out. As Tony normally says, I'll let him do a spiel on going to the theater, but it is pretty interesting if you look at it. If you take Obsession, you take Backrooms, these are small little guys that are making a difference, which means the audiences are coming back because the content is reaching them. It's the same kind of thing. Like, just go enjoy what you enjoy and don't worry about. I avoid reviews and trailers, and I mean, I'll watch some trailers, but avoid reviews because half the time the problem with modern society isn't politics. It's the fact that every review can be paid for. So now, in a lot of ways, you don't get an honest review. You get someone who has been shilled to. So just go watch a movie. Just go check it out. Make your own determination. That's the easiest way to do it. You may love it. You may hate it. You may be indifferent, but make it yours, not somebody else's.
100% agree. And I wanted to add a couple more movies. Scary Movie, hilarious, a lot of fun. And The Death of Robin Hood, pretty
I haven't seen
underrated.
that one yet. Yeah.
Very very good. Kind of a slow burn Robin Hood type thing, but very well done. So yeah, I enjoyed that one as well. Out of A24's catalog, they released. They do. Kudos to
Yeah,
them,
they've
man.
yeah,
Big,
they've
it's
ramped
big.
it up to be a non-studio studio. They're incredible.
So yeah, I mean that's. I mean it's. There's never been a better time to get to the theater than now, man. There's something for everybody, and you can watch cartoons, you can watch animated stuff, you can watch great thrillers like Disclosure Day. Disclosure Day is a good film, and some good horror out there, some good you know adventure films like Masters of the Universe, Star Wars. You get to see Baby Yoda, Grogu. You know this. All the little guys are in that movie.
Yeah, you got them
Amazing
all. Yeah.
ship. They got a tiny ship.
It's one of the best jokes in the movie.
So get to the theater, watch all these movies. This is the time. What are you waiting
Yep.
for?
There
Stop
we go.
listening up.
We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode. We'll pick up the rest of April because we took a little break on that side of it just so we could get some other stuff in. But we'll pick up on the rest and we'll keep going from there. Thank you for listening as always. Thanks for being patient as we took a little vacation of our own, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Tony, anything else you want to say before we go?
Peace. Go USA.